Hello everyone. I want to upload a little modeling job I did. I haven't uploaded anything in a little while. And if you've been following, well, you probably haven't been following me because I haven't actually uploaded anything to follow. But I have been trying to get involved in the Godot Wild Jam game developer annual, well, not annual, monthly. They have this contest, and I thought it'd be fun to try to create something for the contest. I did not actually complete that. You can see that I did a lot of work on it. You can even see this model that I created. The original intent was for it to be part of the project, but I didn't complete it on time. So if you go to the Game Jam page of all the entries, you're not going to find it there. You'll find a lot of other great games there. There were some pretty impressive entries. I don't think the judging is finished yet. But anyway, this is something like the third or fourth contest in a row where I've attempted to enter something and then didn't finish. And I guess so it goes. You can't finish everything, but I did learn a lot. Both in the artistic side, doing some modeling here, and also in the game development side. I hope to upload maybe what I have been able to get together. I ended up spending a good chunk of my time just trying to put together a basic first-person controller, and then decided I didn't like it, so now I'm completely rewriting it. At this point, I'm not even doing it for the contest anymore. I'm just doing it for my own edification. But I've been trying to develop a video game for quite some time, and I guess a lot of people out there, the programmers with a little bit of art in their blood, or other way around, art people who are sort of getting into the programming end a little bit. I think all of us in this little community have always had this lifelong desire to put together a video game of some sort. It's sort of the modern art form, at least the modern popular art form. And well, I'm continuing to work on that. I don't know if this particular project will get to a finish date at any point, but even if it doesn't, I hope it's going to inspire another project. Now, I just focusing a little bit more on the technical form, or the actual things you're seeing here. I decided to go with the old-fashioned way of modeling a character by starting with a cube and then just extruding different bits of it and sort of putting the vertices into shape, into place manually. And you sort of have to do this even if you are going with a more modern sculpting technique. You need the base to start with before you start sculpting it. But the trouble with that is, I've tried doing the sculpting route before, and I just feel that, well, it does take longer because, the sculpting part itself is fun, and it's a lot more detailed and somewhat easier than doing it this way because you have that much more control. But the downside is once you're done, you then have to retopologize it, and which effectively feels like you're rebuilding the model all over again. So I did consider that, and in fact, I did do that at a much later phase of the project. I didn't sculpt the whole thing. I ended up sculpting the head, or re-sculpting the head, because I didn't like the final form I got it to. But yeah, I lost my train of thought there. Sorry about that. But just started with modeling, and 2D modeling, modeling in just the vertex editor. It's also a great way to do it. Not that, it has a lot of overlap with sculpting. You're thinking about a lot of the same things when you're doing it. And one of the things I'm thinking about here, though, is from the times I have done the sculpt and the retopologize, I'm being really careful to pay attention to try to make sure everything is a quadrilateral, or a four-sided shape there. That makes for a lot better geometry and paying attention to the loops so that they make sure they all line up and everything. Now, I'm not putting this video out there as sort of a tutorial of how to model. I was thinking of that originally, but I think I made too many mistakes for that to really work out. So I just want to talk a little bit more generally and maybe post something just to show the process, how all the different shapes come together, how you go through different forms and sort of weld them together. And see here I'm making some fingers, and the hand is probably the trickiest part of the whole model to put together, even trickier than the face. Just because it has so much detail, and you look so closely at the hands too when they're in use. You probably look at the hands second only after the face. And you can see right here I'm having some fun trying to figure out how to put the cut lines on the hand there so that everything is a quadrilateral. Now maybe I didn't need to be such a stickler about that for this part of the body, but I don't know, it's sort of a bit of a puzzle that you can put yourself through. And you can see here is my second attempt. I think on the third attempt I finally got it. I remember this technique where you just sort of extend the lines all the way down. But for now I'm just, here's the technique that worked. And it's just taking the lines down and then merging them again. And now I'm erasing those extra loops I had for the fingers there to make them a little bit smoother. I figured I didn't need all that extra geometry. But anyway, getting back to the whole game and game development thing. This was originally, I was thinking, going to be a secondary character, but due to time crunch, sort of got moved up to being the primary character. I think at the moment it's pretty much the only character. So maybe I'll model some others to be elsewhere in the game, but I wanted something that the user could walk around the world with, be able to go up and down things, and something that can sort of interact with the world. The whole idea for the game jam was ghosts, and I was having some trouble coming up with stuff. In fact, originally I did model a ghost, just sort of your old-fashioned balloon with a sheet hanging over it. And it kind of worked, but it was a little bit too simple, and I think made sort of a better background character or enemy for the game. So that's when this particular model got the promotion. And because it's a little bit more detailed, and also because it moves around in a much more easy to understand manner. With the ghost, you have it floating all over the place, which means that you can't use normal physics. It's going to be floaty, and the character controllers I know how to make are a lot more like humans that stay stuck on the ground. So that might have been a bit of a cop out on my part, but at least for the purpose of getting something together quickly, I wanted to have a character that I could that acted physically in a manner that I could understand and do programming for. Anyway, if you've been watching the modeling job so far, I've just finished up the body, and now I'm trying to come up with clothing. And for the skirt here, you can see that I've started with a cylinder, and I've just sort of now sort of meshing into shape, trying to get the top of the cylinder to follow her hips around, sort of like where the belt loop would go. The rest of the clothing is going to be sort of modeled out of her body. You might not have noticed it, but I made a backup copy of the body here. And so what you're seeing now is the duplicate, and the clothes are going to be sort of baked directly into the model. And the reason for that is I've tried modeling clothes in the past. I find if you put the clothes on top of a regular figure, I've had horrible trouble with the body coming through the clothes. And if you try to bend the knees or have the figure bend over or twist, then you got the knee coming straight through the dress or the pants or whatever it is they're wearing. So one way around that is to just delete all the geometry you don't need, which in this case, because the clothes are never going to change, you might as well just delete that whole midsection, and part of the rest of the body, her upper body, has now actually become the shirt. And that's just a good trick to both reduce your geometry and get rid of some of those issues that you have later on with animation and rigging. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you the entire process here because I did have a crash when I was recording, so the very last bit did not get captured, but I believe I go all the way through to the painting and the rigging. And then I finish off with just an animation so you can see the final thing. Now you can see my proportions are a little bit off here. I have that little sketch. I had that little sketch in the upper right corner that I drew. That's sort of my concept art there. And I did end up making a figure that was considerably taller than my sketch there. I probably should have broken that down into the more basic poses so that I could get the proportions a little bit closer. But I kind of liked the proportions of my 3D interpretation here. So even though it's not exactly on model, I still think it's a decent model, which is kind of why I went with it. And you can see here I've also modeled the broom in the background. I've changed the design for the broom. I decided that the broom that was in the sketch, that was a little bit too modern. That's sort of the kind of broom that you'd buy at your local department store. And I thought that, a proper, Witchy Cat here, she'd have one of those old-fashioned brooms that you see in 18th century drawings. And so at this point, I've finished the modeling, at least for now. I'm going to go back and fiddle with it later. But now I'm putting the skeleton in place. And I originally made a test with just the jaw, and I found that distorted the face pretty horribly. So I decided to go with a different rig. This is a Rigify rig that has the entire face. Now, I'm not actually going to use the eye bones in this. I decided to go with painted eyes because I'd been looking at some Legend of Zelda game footage, specifically Skyward Sword. And, well, actually pretty much all the games in that series have the painted on eyes. And I thought I could try that, give a high quality looking eye on a low quality model, or at least a low polygon model. It came out reasonably well, I think. But that was the idea. But anyway, I don't actually need the eye bones because there aren't any physically modeled eyes. So I wasn't quite sure what to do about that. But I decided to go with the full face rig anyway because I needed those other bones there. And yeah, I was watching another podcast about upcoming features in Blender, and it looks like they are going to be overhauling this whole rigging system. I'm using Rigify here just because it's kind of fast. I have tried doing a rig from scratch the hard way, and even though that gives you a lot more control, it is also a lot harder to do and a lot longer to do. Rigify doesn't give you the best models, or doesn't give you the best rigs, but it gives you okay rigs. And it's a lot faster, so that's why I've been going with Rigify here. But as I was saying, it looks like Blender is going to be completely overhauling the whole rigging system with something that should be a whole lot easier to use, hopefully. But that's probably not until the version 4 is out, and I don't think that's going to be until August 2023, so that's at least 8 months from now, if then. Anyhow, you can see that the rig is now done and I've moved on to painting. And and I'm just going by the model. I am making up the colors a little bit, but purple dress, which is sort of, it reads as black. It isn't black, but it often purple will be a nice substitute for black. It has the advantage that it's a lot easier to see. So conveys the darkness without being so dark that you kind of lose the graphical quality of what exactly it is you're looking at. And here's the eyes I was talking about before. And unfortunately, the eyes get a little bit distorted because I go back in a little bit later and reshape the face. I wasn't quite happy with the way the face was looking after I did the paint job. And so yeah, that's part of the footage that was lost, unfortunately, as well as most of the animation. But most of it's here, and you're going to see me finish painting up the broom now. And it's probably, ironically, the most detailed part of the whole model because it has all those little stripes on it to represent the straw. And yeah, I ended up not even using it. Well, at this point, I'm not exactly sure how to incorporate it into the game. So right now it's modeled, and it's modeled using the same texture as the regular figure there. I was thinking that she could wield it as a sword or something like that, but I wasn't quite sure how to do that. So I have a little bit more thinking, at least with the game dev side of things, how to exactly, what I should do with the broom. But that's sort of a detail for now. I'm fairly happy with how the modeling job turned out. And we're about to get to the bit where it cuts off, but you should be able to see the final animation of how it is looking. And I hope to be back soon to share with you a little bit more of how I'm able to use this in a game. So, unfortunate I couldn't make it in time for the game jam, but I learned a lot, and hopefully I can use this to as a springboard for more projects in the future. Anyway, thanks for watching.